one thing I love more in life? Wrestling and beer. Well, unfortunately, the doctor says beer is out of my life, but wrestling is still in it. And my man, Ron Antinore, is the guy who right now is going all over America drinking the best beer. Ron, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. And also for all the wrestling fans out there, you may know me as wrestling manager Ron Ratcatcher.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the NWA days in a second, but tell everybody where you're from.
Well, I am living right now in Columbus, Georgia area, originally from outside Pittsburgh. But I have lived and traveled all over the country in the last 26 years, from Atlanta to Hollywood, California, down to Tampa, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, working in the nightclub and bar business.
Hey, it's still a nice town. It's still a great place. You haven't been shot in Columbus yet, have you?
I don't go to Columbus. I don't go out.
I heard crime
it's like little Chicago.
Yeah, I heard crime in Columbus has gotten worse.
Yes, it has.
And just for everybody to know, don't say worst. It's worse. So what high school did you graduate from?
Smith Station High School.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
Well, back then they used to have a decent football team. I don't know what they are now.
Nah, we represent those Red Devils here. We don't mess with those Panthers. So what made you want to go travel the country? I was not prepared for this. Hello. So what made you travel the country just to drink beer? Because what we probably didn't explain to you, everybody, is that Ron travels all over the country just to do one thing: drink beer. What made you want to do that?
Well, it's the gypsy in me, I guess. I love to travel. When I was a kid, my family traveled all the time. As I got older, it was just something that I enjoyed. I always wanted to travel out west. I've been all up and down the East Coast and wanted to expand out west and check out the middle of the country. And then all the different breweries that have been popping up over the last 20, 25 years. I have a love of beer, and I just love to try new beers. I love to talk to the breweries, the owners, learn their stories, the little history of their breweries, and of course, try their beers, which is the most important and fun part of the job.
Yeah, they have a place in Columbus, Georgia, called the Cannon. Have you ever heard of it?
I have. I've been there a few times.
Yeah, that makes some nice beer. Back when my drinking days, I used to like to get the samples, where people who never been to Columbus, basically what they do is they got a bunch of different flavors. And I know people are thinking like flavored beer. Yeah, they'll have different types of flavors, and you get like 10 of them, and you just get to drink each one. And if you drink enough of those samples, like I did, I wouldn't just get one sample. I would get like, oh, I just finished this sample. Let me buy another one. That was just me.
Yeah.
They probably had the best beer in Columbus, Georgia.
They
Question: do you ever go to St.? Huh?
I said they do make some good beer there.
Oh, they make the best beer. It's a restaurant, but in the background you can see where they make the beer, and just the love of beer that I have, I always want to just jump in there and just take a bath. Just
yeah.
But you ever been to St. Augustine?
I've never been to St. Augustine. I've been to Jacksonville. Just never made it. I know it's just maybe 10 miles, 20 miles south of Jacksonville, but I've never made it there.
Oh, if you want to drink, St. Augustine is the place to go. Breweries, not just breweries. I mean, just a good time. I mean, once a month they have this like a art. It's almost, if you look at it, it's almost like downtown Columbus. If you're from Columbus, Georgia, and you live in St. Augustine, they have a downtown area, and in the downtown area is about a bunch of art shops, but it looks just like downtown Columbus. And once a month, they want you to come in, look at the art, maybe buy some art. But how they get you in the door, they give you free wine, free alcohol, and free snacks like samples, like cheese or whatever. So you can walk all the way down the I guess the boardwalk or whatever the hell they call it, the art museums and just sidewalks, and you can drink all the free wine you want. All you have to do is go inside and drink wine and look at the art. It's the best time in the world because art is never more fun to look at when you're drunk.
Yep.
You're drunk, you can look at all the art.
It all looks good.
Yeah, it's like, you mean this piece is $5,000?
Yep.
But yeah, you should, and that's trip St. Augustine, because you can do tours of breweries, and that could be like your next episode.
Yeah,
just do the tour. But
that's what I like doing those. Excuse me. I love going doing tours of the breweries, talking to the brewers, the owners, seeing how each place, because everyone does their own little styles of beer, and and that's one thing I like about Dunedin outside of Tampa. They have actually got 8 breweries within a 1 mile radius, and they're all walking distance of down. They're all downtown. It's like you can start at one and just boom, 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 brewery hop and get all 8 of them. They're all right within a 1 mile radius. So
I've never been to the Tampa area.
If you
love
beer, that's the place to be. They've got over 80 breweries in the Tampa Bay area.
I got to talk to my doctor. my unfortunately for me, I've never made no bones about it. I think everybody knows my secret. I suffer from anxiety attacks or panic attacks. And my panic attacks are so bad that, my blood pressure will shoot up, not just like 140 over 100. My blood pressure will shoot up like 240 over, just crazy blood pressure. And they got me on anxiety medication. Now, anybody's ever taken anxiety medication, and depending on who you talk to, you'll talk to one doctor, and one doctor will say, yeah, you can have about 2 or 3 beers. But then one doctor will tell you, no, don't drink. It will kill you. So you don't know who to believe. And then my stance has always been, well, I'll take the risk. Yeah. So I gave up something that I love more than anything in the whole world, beer. And everybody's like, golly, just to say it today, saying that, hey, I don't drink beer. It's weird to me. It's been 2 years now. And it's like, you haven't had a beer. It's so bad that like just a couple of weeks ago, I had a craving for some beer. I mean, you know how you just get a craving and you just want it so bad. So I went to the grocery store and got me some 0.0% Heinkens.
Yeah.
And anybody that's ever drank, especially real beer drinkers, ever drink non-alcoholic beer, it's like you might as well just, sniff baking soda, But I ain't gonna lie to you. It was the best tasting beer I ever had in my entire life because I hadn't had a beer in a long time. And I drank the whole 6-pack. I just wanted to rub it on my face, go outside and do the stone cold. I was like, I missed it so much.
Yeah.
But that's something I hope you never have to go through.
Man, me too. I don't know how I would survive. I think I'd probably just have to take my chances.
A lot of people do. I got too much to live for. So I don't know, maybe one day. Here's the thing. Now, when I say this to everybody, I'm no doctor. I'm no professional. So when all this stuff started, the first thing I did was went to New York City and they had me on Xanax. And at the time, I did not know I was suffering from panic attacks. Everybody kept telling me I was suffering from panic attacks. The thing about me was I thought I was always dying. I thought something was serious wrong with me. Because the one thing was that my blood pressure would shoot up. And then the tingling in my head, the chest pressure, you know. But my doctor kept telling me I was suffering from panic attack. And the only thing that would fix it was Xanax. So I didn't know much about Xanax. So what I would do is I take Xanax in the morning, Xanax in the afternoon, and then drink all night. I didn't nothing bad happen. I mean, when I drank. However, so they put me on a different medication, and the guy that put me on the medication put the fear of God in me and said, "Your drinking days are over." And when he put the fear in God in me, I hadn't had another drink. Yeah. Now, depending on what doctor you listen to, they'll tell you. Just that doctor happened to put the fear of God in me, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just not going to risk it. Yeah. But how long have you been a connoisseur of beer?
Oh man, I had my first craft beer back in 1995 in Atlanta. It was Sweetwater Brewing Company. At that time, they were the only craft brewery in Atlanta. I fell in love with their the Sweetwater Blue, their blueberry flavored wheat ale. And when I left Atlanta in 1997 and started traveling, everywhere I went, I spoke its praises, man. I was like, you've got to try this Sweetwater Blue. If it ever gets out here, you've got to try it. You've got to try it. It's the best blueberry beer you will ever have. If you like blueberry pancakes, blueberry muffins, you're going to love this. And I spoke its praises from Atlanta to Hollywood, California. And when I got down to Florida, they actually started expanding into Florida, and I was able to get it in Pensacola, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach areas. And I was like, yes, see, this is what blueberry beer is all about, man. This is delicious.
Yeah. What's your favorite type of beer?
Oh man, it just depends. I started out, my favorites were the stouts and porters. And then after spending several years down in Florida, I've kind of transitioned over to Hefeweizens and Pilsners, lagers, more lighter drinking, easier drinking type beers. Never been a big fan of IPAs unless they're the fruity or juicy types. I don't like to feel like I'm biting into a pine cone when I'm drinking a beer. To me, that's just not very refreshing. It's almost like the opposite end of the spectrum is the sours, to where it's like you're biting into a lemon. If it's real soury and just puckers my mouth up, it's like, that's not refreshing. I can't sit there and drink. Those aren't going to quench my thirst. That's going to make me want to drink some real beer. Excuse me. But yeah, I love the Hefeweizens. I love Pilsners, lagers.
Yeah, for me, I have a funny story. I'm just thinking of this. I've always been, especially in my 20s, always been, the coolest light guy.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I got, the middle light. But for a long time, it was just coolers and Coors Light. I started dating this girl about 2007. Wasn't nothing serious, but she loved to go out in downtown Columbus. And you know that beer, Blue Moon?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was her favorite drink. And I remember, I tried something new. I ordered me a Blue Moon. I remember drinking it for the first time. And I looked at the bartender. I said, "Sir, I think you got some soap in this glass. Can I get another one?" And so he goes in there and fixed me another Blue Moon. And I started drinking it. And I was like, "Sir, you need to check these glasses. You got some soap in this water," because it tastes like soap and water. And then finally, after like the third, fourth one, he was like, "Dude, there ain't no soap." The bartender was like, "Dude, there's nothing wrong with these glasses." And I drank some of hers, and I was like, "Ugh, it's like soap and water."
The wheat flavor, the wheat.
Yeah, I was like, but I grown to like it. Every once in a while I would drink it. Question: when you're traveling, what's your favorite beer to drink?
Once again, it's like it just depends. It depends on where I'm at. It depends on what the weather is
Airport.
like.
Let's say
Uh,
airport.
if I'm at an airport,
Airport.
I'll sit at the bar and I'll try to find something local. It really doesn't matter what style, just depends on what I'm in for that day. But I always try to go for something local if I'm in an airport or anywhere. Really, I like to try any of the local breweries. Like I said, my tastes are all over the place. I don't. It just depends on whatever I'm in the mood for that day. One day I might want a stout. The next day I might want to do the Hefeweizens, and then another day I might want to just drink several different styles in one day. My taste is just all over the place. When people ask me what type of beer do you like, it just depends on the day, what day it is, and how I feel that day.
Yeah, my thing in the Atlanta airport was before I got on a plane, I would have to go to. There's only one place that it's been a while now, but there's like one place that served Guinness, and I would have to like drink some Guinness before I get on a plane. It's like it's not negotiable. I would miss my flight to find that restaurant, because it's not like I go to the Atlanta airport and fly, but from 2007 to 2014, I probably flew like 20 times, and it was like I always forget what restaurant to go to get the Guinness. And I will search. Do you have Guinness? You have Guinness? You got Guinness? And but I will sit down and drink that Guinness, and then I'll get on a plane.
Yeah, I got it.
But
when I first started drinking Guinness, I was in Atlanta, and me and some of my friends, and up until then, all I drank was Budweiser. And me and some friends were at a bar, and they ordered a pitcher of Guinness, and I'm like, man, what is that? Looks like motor oil. They're like, man, you'll like it. Get you some. All right. I poured me a glass. I was like, oh, no. Give me a Budweiser. Didn't like it. Next time we're out, they did it again. I was like, let me go ahead and try another one. Poured it. So, it ain't too bad. Drank it. It got to the point where I could down a pint in like a swallow. It's like, it was just so smooth. It's just creamy. And that was my first introduction to any type of beer outside of Budweiser, Bud Light, Miller Lite, the domestic beers. And I fell in love with it. And that's what got me started liking stouts was Guinness. I always told people it's the beer that drinks like a meal because it's light, but it's heavy. It doesn't have the high alcohol content. It's about the same as a Bud Light or Budweiser, 4.5% around there. And but it's real smooth and creamy and easy drinking.
hey, look, two things that every man should enjoy: sex and beer.
Exactly.
You got those things in your life, you're a happy man.
Yep.
I want to go downstairs and drink that. I want to go downstairs and drink them 3.0% alcohols.
Yeah.
But so let's transform. So let's talk about this YouTube. You're just getting it started. You're traveling all over the world. What's your plans and what's your goals for drinking across America?
Well, I'm going to be filming down in the Tampa area at the end of the month. My plans are to feature every brewery in the Tampa area. There's over 80 of them, and to feature them weekly on my show, both as a web series and podcast. And my idea is to get it sold to a TV station down there, let them pick it up, help me get broadcast, and then take it from there. I also want to do the same thing in the Atlanta area with all the breweries up there. So my plan is to start in Tampa, start filming there, get the episodes out, talk to like the local Fox or CW station and picking me up where I can get local, get on the local TV. And the name of the series is going to be Drinking Across America Bay Area Breweries. And up in Atlanta, I plan on doing the same thing, going up there, filming at the breweries, getting on the local TV, and a little spin-off name of that's going to be Drinking Across America Hot Atlanta Cold Brews. And then once those start going, start making some money off of it, and then start traveling more often around the country to different breweries throughout the country as well. And
You ever
maybe
thought
get
about
myself a
doing
show
that?
on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. I'm actually
Hey,
talking to Pluto TV about possibly getting a channel on them. So
think big. Think big.
yeah,
That's the way
got to
to do
think
it.
big.
Have you ever thought about doing it locally, like with WRBL or WLTZ?
I actually, I contacted I have the only station I contacted so far. I contacted Fox WXTX in
Mhm.
Columbus,
And
and
for everybody who's not from the Phoenix City, Columbus area like we are, you know, I grew up there. WLTZ, WRBL. We're talking about CBS, ABC,
yeah, NBC.
NBC,
I
Fox.
was actually picked up for a very brief time by CTV Beam in Phoenix City, the cable company. They came out and they would film for me and
CTV
edit.
Beam.
CTV Beam, the cable
CTV.
company.
You mean cable TV at East Alabama?
Yeah, yeah.
They changed the name.
Well, it's it's CTV Beam East Alabama now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they
Go
had
ahead.
me about what was it? About a year and a half ago. Uh, we did about a handful of episodes, and then one of the owner of the company's relatives asked him, "Well, why you having a show featuring alcohol and featuring drinking?" So they ended up pulling it because of that. So
Well, yeah, people down here, especially here in the state of Alabama, you know, this is going to be strange to a lot of people. This is the Bible Belt. Even though places in Columbus and you can just walk down the street and get shot. You,
yeah,
you, you still, the murder is okay, but drinking, no, not so
yeah,
much.
don't do that. I mean, you still can't buy
Yeah, don't
alcohol until
drink.
noon on Sunday.
Yeah, hey, when I was growing up, it was no beer on Sundays.
Yeah,
Like
you couldn't buy it.
when you what your thing, what you had to do, for some people this is gonna be weird, but growing up, like let's say my father, for example, my father will always keep beer in his house. What he'll do is buy on Saturdays,
Yep.
buy
Because of
his
the blue
Saturday
laws.
beer and buy his
Yeah.
buy his Saturday beer and
Yeah.
buy his and Sunday beer, and then
Yeah.
buy some more beer just in case he ran out on Sunday.
Yeah.
But like being a private investigator, I will try to do cases up in Fort Payne, Alabama, and my hotel room was in a city called Rainsville. So I will have to, in Rainsville, you can't buy beer nowhere, like it's dry.
Yeah.
So you have to drive down the mountain to Fort Payne just to buy beer. And to me, it was the weirdest thing. It was like, why can't you drive?
Well, that's like, yeah, when I was a kid growing up here, we moved down here in 83. And I can remember being a teenager, Lee County, Opelika, you couldn't buy beer any day of the week. It was dry. You couldn't buy liquor. You couldn't buy wine.
Yeah. People don't understand this growing up. This is not the Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City show by no means, but growing up, people don't have, I realize how much fun we used to have. Like the Rivertown concerts and all that stuff. We would have people like James Brown and Sister Hazel, and we had some big names. And then all of a sudden it just stopped. I mean, just like that. I mean, imagine just being downtown watching the Temptations. They were a little older, but in James Brown and Sister Hazel and bunch of cool other bands that I can't really, at the top of my head, I can't really think about. They don't do nothing like that no more.
No,
nothing. It was so much fun. But crime, what happens is, crime, is what it is. When you had a city like that, and then all of a sudden crime takes over. It was a time where, going to the fair in Columbus was fun. And then,
now you get shot.
Somebody, you get, I would never go to Columbus Square. I'd never go to Columbus fairs.
You can't even go. I remember back in the day, you used to be able to go to Peachtree Mall because that was the nice mall.
We had one mall growing up, and it was Columbus Square Mall.
Yep.
And it's got tore down now.
Yep.
But Columbus Square Mall shut down because of Peachtree Mall opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when Columbus Square Mall only had like 2 stores. It was a Foot Locker and something else. And that's all they had.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was you just can walk around. But Columbus Square Mall was like the mall.
Yeah,
it was.
Peachtree Mall the mall to go to.
Yeah. And then Peachtree Mall opened up, and then it was like, oh, this is the mall. And then they built a shopping plaza. And now everybody wants to go to shopping plaza. So now when you go to Peachtree Mall, I mean, they had shootouts inside the where the catering is. I mean, it's gotten bad in that area. Yeah. I know people that say they had to go to Columbus now. It's like going to Valdosta. I'm not Valdosta. It's like going to Albany or Atlanta. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm gonna take my gun with me too. Yeah. You know, it's sad.
I moved away for 26 years. I was gone for 26 years, and the only reason I came back to my family.
And a lot of people tell me that, you know, they want to move out of the area. They want to go to Smith Station, but then the bad element is going to Smith Station too. It is what it is. The fun is over. I remember growing up, and my mom used to tell me all the time the fun was back when Allied Park was a zoo and bowling alleys, and they shut that down. You know, all the good things have to come to an end, and it really depends on the people. The people of the city is what dictates how much fun you're going to have in that city. Because there's still cities in Alabama that have a great time, and they're small towns, and like they do a lot of cool stuff. But you know, it is what it is. But so you're saying you're trying to go to Pluto. How do you work that out? What do you do? Just call them up and say, "Hey, I want a station. I want a channel."
Well, what I did, I Googled Pluto TV and got on their little website. They have a section on there for content providers to contact them about ideas for shows. And I did that just a couple of days ago, actually. So they said it usually takes about a week or so before they get back to you. So I'm hoping to hear back by the end of this week from them. Because I've got a bunch of content, you know, lined up and all that I got probably about 8 weeks worth of content, you know, if I did one episode a week on my thing.
Well, I mean, you have a very good original. It's not, I wouldn't say it's original, but the reason why I wouldn't say it's original is because you got like things like Man versus Food, stuff on the Cooking Network, you know, but beer drinkers, like, you know,
and that's what I tell people. I'm like, I like to, when they ask about my show, I'm like, well, think of it as being a combination of Anthony Bourdain meets diners, drive-ins, and dives with alcohol.
Yeah. You know, and when I first, you know, if I had enough money, if I was a rich man, and I'm gonna give some kid some ideas right here. Because if you got a pen and piece of paper, this will make YouTube. You'll probably be up there with Mr. Beast and all the other guys making billions of dollars. What I would want to do is get an RV and travel to all the historic sites. Like for me, like first place I would want to go is Lincoln County, New Mexico, and just visit.
Beautiful.
Have you been there?
Beautiful out there. Yeah. Yes.
That's like for me, that would be the first place I would go. And then I'll probably go somewhere like Tombstone, Arizona. Or then, and you know what I mean? I'll just start trying to find these historic. These are the two places that come to me, and people don't know who Tombstone is. And then people don't know Lincoln County, Billy the Kid. So yeah. So for me, that's only like the two places on the top of my head. And all of the United States, hell, in Phoenix City, Alabama, it's nothing but history. It's history that is history to us locals. But you know, you talk about that area, uptown Columbus, just over the bridge, you'll find one of the most famous murders that ever happened in Alabama. Just go over the bridge. So you know, it's in Alabama itself. Go to Selma, Alabama, walk the bridge. when I was traveling as a private investigator, I personally walked that bridge. Okay, I'm lying. I drove the bridge and then I went one side, took a picture, and then I don't want to say I wasn't walking, but my point was it's so much history in just in the state of Alabama that the first season can just be Alabama.
Yeah.
But that would be my personal thing to do for you two. But your idea is perfect. Drinking beer, traveling the country. What can be better than that? Are you married?
No. Did that mistake out of high school. I got wise when I turned 21.
Oh, so yeah, you got any kids?
They're grown. They're in their 30s.
Dude, I wouldn't be talking to me right now.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
When we talk about wrestling, you know I'm going to bring the belt out. Signed by the greatest wrestler of all time, the immortal Hulk Hogan. Tell me about the NWA back in the day, back when you was in there. Now, we're not talking about, before we get started, we're not talking about NWA from Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard and the Four Horsemen. We're talking independent NWA before the Smashing Pumpkins bought it. We're talking about that NWA. We're talking about in NWA in Fort Payne, Alabama. Some of the places y'all went, But tell me about your wrestling career.
We did Arkansas. I did a couple NWA shows up there, actually, with the Rock and Roll Express from the old school NWA. I only worked a couple shows.
By the way, you can check that interview out with Ricky Morton, one of my first interviews on the CTS interview room. We interviewed Ricky Morton. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Yeah, him and Robert are great guys, man. Like I said, I've done a couple shows with them. The last one I worked with them was this past September 26th, Jerry the King Lawler, his 50th anniversary show. They teamed up with Jerry Lawler against my man, Matt Riviera, Tommy Wildfire Rich, and Dangerous Doug Gilbert. And I was in their corner against the King, the Rock and Roll Express, and Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart.
Now, let me ask you this. You just name a bunch of wrestling legends, and you're sitting there ringside. Now, I'm going to say this respectfully, and don't take it the wrong way. You're a manager in the independent scene. However, you're ringside with Jerry the King Lawler, the Rock and Roll Express, Jimmy Hart. You're seeing the action right up front. I mean, how cool is that?
Man, it's awesome. I mean, I used to watch those guys as a teenager on TV, and that's what got me into wrestling, and I always wanted to be a wrestler. And when I'm able to do these shows, and because we've actually had a feud with Jerry Lawler for 3 years throughout Tennessee and Arkansas. I've been knocked out by Jerry Lawler. I've been slammed by Jerry Lawler. Bill Superstar Dundee. I was knocked in the head, knocked out by Jimmy Hart, but with his megaphone. So, I mean, when standing there ringside, you get that little kid in you comes out. It's like, man, I used to watch these guys on TV, and now I'm standing here ringside and I'm in the ring with them. And it's just phenomenal. It's a dream come true, man. And every one of us that's in the business that grew up watching them, we all get the same way with them. We're all like, man, the mark in us comes out. And we're like, man, to be it's to be the kid again. And you're going up to them, hey, can I get a picture with you? Can I get your autograph? And stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, today in today's wrestling, I have R.D. Reynolds on here. That he wrote the book, The Death of WCW with Brian Alvarez. And I've always told him, even told Ricky Morton when I interviewed him, like, I still look at wrestling. I don't watch wrestling for what it is. I watch wrestling for what it's portrayed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And hear me out on this. Fans today, they care more about so-called work rate, uh, being a good worker, stuff that has not a damn thing to do with them. For me, when I watch a movie, I don't want to, I'm not looking at it like, oh man, this is some good editing. Oh, I like the cinematography, the director, I'm watching the movie. I want to watch the movie.
Yep.
And these wrestling fans today, they so hyped about stuff that they know of. Okay, we get it. It's predetermined. Or in some people's mind, it's fake. Okay, we get it. Just sit down and enjoy the match. Enjoy the fight. Keyword.
Not fake.
Fight.
Not fake. Predetermined, yes. Predetermined, yes. Fake, no. Hate the word fake. It is not fake.
Okay, but my point is that we get off that part. Just watch the fight. Mm-hmm. Watch the two guys. Watch the fight. Watch the fight. You're not. I get people. Wrestling fans don't like talk wrestling with me because you're such a mark. You're such a mark. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not in the wrestling business. Yes, I like to listen to shoot. Yeah. Yes, I like listening to shoot interviews. Yes, I like listening to people's stories about wrestling. You can sit down for hours and talk wrestling about stuff that will happen backstage. I will enjoy listening to you and have a great time. I do not want to listen to some 25-year-old kid living in his mom's basement talking about the work rate of Shawn Michaels and Kenny Omega, who's never been in the ring. I want to, you know how you get me to pay money to watch wrestling? Same rate you get me to watch boxing. You better have a good fight coming up. You better have a good something to take my money. You think about it. Back in the day with boxing, it could be Floyd Mayweather or Miguel Cotto versus some nobody. Mm-hmm. But that HBO 24/7 will take your money. Miguel Cotto was going to kill this guy, right? But that 24/7 will have you thinking, can this guy win? Because they'll pump it up with that story, just like in professional wrestling. UFC, boxing, they have took what professional wrestling is and made it into it, and that's how boxing still stays relevant. That's how UFC stays relevant. They get you into that story. I still to remember the one that pops in my mind is CM Punk and John Cena from 2011, Money in the Bank. The thing was CM Punk is not signing with the WWE. Is he going to walk away? And all the dirt sheets and they had it. They were like, he's not coming back. Mm-hmm. Is he going to walk away with a title? And even though, in 2011, you knew that all the secrets are out, but they had me right there thinking to myself, is he going to walk away with a title? And the crowd was going crazy. It was all about Punk. And then when he won, you did not know what was going to happen. You didn't know if he's coming back with the belt. You didn't know. And they don't do that no more.
No.
I wish they can go back to like those type of stories, something that can grab you. But with wrestling
nowadays, these kids, everyone just wants to see the flip flop and flies. How many flips can you do in a match? How many, can you fly out of the ring and all this kind of stuff? It's like, that's got its place every once in a while, but I don't want to see every single match is the same. And that's what they are. They're all
they do same. It. Right now, to be a wrestling fan, I would say this is the best time to be a wrestling fan due to the fact that you got WWE, and if you want to count NXT as another company, you can. You got WWE, NXT, AEW, MLW, Impact Wrestling, NWA Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got all this wrestling. And I'm probably forgetting some more wrestling, but you got all this wrestling. All you had is at the fingertips. And then at once in a while you had Lucha Underground, and you had all this wrestling. And you would think the only people that really are trying to get it right is, and people are gonna say, how are you gonna say this? And you're like the biggest Hulk Hogan fan ever. Yeah, because I'm loyal. I've been a Falcons fan all my life. I've been an Alabama fan all my life. I've been a Bulls fan all my life. Hulk Hogan was my guy, and to this day, I would say he's the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Hands down, nobody can touch him. With that said,
Nature Boy.
How many times has Ric Flair beat Hulk Hogan?
He's beat him several times. Beat him a few times.
I count one time.
Ric Flair's 21-time world champion. Best in the world. But I grew up Southern wrestling.
21-time world champion. That means he lost it 22 times.
But he was champion 21. More than any man walking the face of the earth.
Yeah. The cool thing about being a champion is not losing the championship. You see how that works? Bruno Sammartino, how many times had he won the championship? Like what, 2 times? 3 times? Because he kept it. Yeah.
Different era back then.
Luthez, how many times was he the NWA champion? I mean,
8.
He kept it. But he had like a 50-year career, didn't he?
Yeah.
My point is he kept the belt. Hogan, he's 11 times, 10 times, 12 times, somewhere around there. And then plus a champion in New Japan, because he kept the belt. Nobody could beat him. That's the whole point of it being a great champion is you can't lose. And of course the little marks out there are gonna be like, he did politics. Shut up. You wasn't backstage. Nobody cares what your opinion is. Hogan was the man. Because if you look at the crowd, every time Hogan won, the crowd went crazy. They talk about WrestleMania 9 being the worst time ever in the history of wrestling when he beat Yokozuna. Watch that match. Watch how he pinned 1, 2, 3 and how the crowd went crazy. Only people that think it was stupid is people today because they don't know nothing. They wasn't alive during that time. People went crazy over Hulk Hogan. They love Hulk Hogan. With that said, I forgot what we was talking about, damn it. But the point about it is
a good time to be a wrestling fan.
It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. You got so much wrestling, but you watch something like AEW, the whole match is nothing but flips. It's like, why don't you just work a hold? Just put the arm lock on. Put them in the headlock. Just work a leg. Just let's do some wrestling.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of wrestling. You shouldn't have 20 high spots. You should have like 1 or 2 high spots, and then, as they say, people that are in the business. I do not consider myself in the business. I don't know anything about how a match is set up. I don't know how anything, and I try not to know because it takes away from the
fantasy.
Yeah, it takes away the fight to me. But tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Tell a story in the match.
And that's the thing with AEW. They are so jump all over the place. It's like you'll watch it one week and there's one story starts, and then the next week they forget all about it and they're moved on to something else. It's like they don't let anything develop, because their fans, they're like goldfish. Their attention span lasts for a second. I mean, so they're not into the old school storylines that are built up over months or years. Hell, one of the best feuds ever in professional wrestling was Tommy Wildfire Rich and Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. It went on for 4 years. 4 years.
Take stuff like Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Starcade 84. When Joe Frazier cost him the match, then 85, then the Four Horsemen, Dusty Rhodes, they went head to head. So like from what 84 to Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, and then the Four Horsemen, and then Dusty Rhodes had to fight the Four Horsemen, and then here comes Sting and Ric Flair. People, you know what? People don't talk about it, but Sting and Ric Flair, in my day, that was the biggest rivalry of all time for me. Was Sting and Ric Flair. Because I mean, to me, that was like the rivalry. That was it. That was like Sting and Ric Flair. When Sting and Ric Flair was on TV, you was gonna watch it.
Yeah,
that was main. That was pay-per-view right there.
Yeah,
for me. But it was wrestling. It really is a good time to be a wrestling fan. And if you don't like today's wrestling, guess what? They got so many wrestling apps right now. So many streaming services. Streaming services. They got YouTube. You could turn it if you want to watch a Bob Ryder match. You can just turn it on YouTube and catch up what you want to watch on. Don't tell YouTube that. Well, with that said, last question I have to ask: how much does a manager make on the independent scene? Because if you think about it, you sit there and travel all the way over to from Alabama to Mississippi. Well, how much do you get? I always wonder what the people independent scene make.
Not a lot. When I was with Matt, it was a lot more lucrative. I would have my room and board was paid for. Everything was paid for me. Plus I would make, depending on the show, I would come out with $20 to $40. But I'm staying in a 5-star hotel. All my food is paid for. All of my drinks are paid for. Everything's paid for me getting there and back. So, I didn't care about making a lot of money. I'm out there for 15, 20 minutes. Hey, 20, $40 is great. I'm staying in a $200 hotel room. I'm eating free for the weekend. I'm drinking free. Anything that I want to do is paid for. So, but as far as money wise, you're looking at probably anywhere from $20 to $50 a show, depending on the promotion.
But you do it for the love of the game, and that's what.
I love it.
And when you do it for the love of the beer, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. This man right here, you're gonna be seeing some big things from. I'm glad he right now is just starting out, and I'm glad I got him on the CTS. Because we're still starting out. But when you start making it big, you can say you saw him here first, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Ron Antinore.
Thank you.
Wait, hang on. Did I say that right?
Antinore.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only. Hey, real fast, you stay on the line. Everybody else, this was the one and only Ron Antinore. Stay on the line, everybody else. See you next Sunday.
Peace out.